Hey,
Hey,
welcome
I can't believe it.
and this is Dave and Cali.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm on your show. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it took long enough, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was hoping, well, maybe
Well,
someday he'll ask me.
yeah. Well, I don't know. It might not be Dave and Cali much longer.
That's true. But I was thinking maybe I could just change it for Dave from Cali.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might work. That might work.
Dave in Texas.
That doesn't have the same ring, does it?
Dave in Tex. Nah.
We'll figure it out.
Dave in Ass. No. But all right, let's go and get on to the subject. We're going to talk about wokeness, or woke.
You're not going on me, are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
My opinion, what it is, what they try to define it is that it's where you have waken up to what's the reality of the United States. That supposedly the United States is based off of the white men who started this country on the backs of slaves and so on and so forth, and all this ridiculous nonsense. Now, was there slavery then? Yes. The law of the law of the people that were part of the Constitutional Convention wanted slavery to stay in there? Yes. But some of the ones didn't, like George Washington.
Right.
He had slaves, but they think slavery was a good thing? No. Same with Thomas Jefferson. They realized slavery was the idea of it was, hey, you're taking away from people what they have actually earned, and they realized that. But it was something that was okayed by at the time by the British government when they were in control. Now, they left it that way because that's the only way they could have kept the 13 colonies together at the time to fight against the British.
Because there was such an economic effect already locked in. So it was a tough thing.
That's where the left started with the whole wokeness, and it's actually increased all the way to gender studies and so on and so forth. Now, in my opinion, what it is it's a fundamental building block of Marxism in the United States, because Marxism, how it worked in Europe and Asia, it had to do with class. In the United States, everybody, no matter what race you are, you're all over the class spectrum in the United States. Right. You can be black and be poor, middle class, or rich. The same whites, same with Hispanics, same with Asians, so on and so forth. So they had to find a different way to separate people. So they went with wokeness, or when it comes to race studies, like what's it called, RCT, and also CTR, whatever. Anyway, and also they now
CRT.
CRT, and then you also got gender studies. That's also separating people,
which is kind of morphed that direction too. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I'm looking at it. It's just part of Marxism, and what they're trying to do is just separate people in boxes. And trying to isolate people that think differently than this way. Right. And of course, they think majority of people in the United States think the way they do. Actually, majority of people in the United States think more like me and you. That what does race and sexuality have anything to do with this? Especially when you're talking about gender studies. Gender studies confuses the hell out of me.
Oh, don't get me started.
but I know you want to bring up a topic when it comes to wokeness with Disney. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about Disney that really irks me is the founder of Disney had a complete family values idea of how he set it up, and the corporation to this day is nowhere near what Walt originally created. But the other thing is they're also starting to get the repercussions. Did you know that their stock has dropped 50%? It's down 50% of what it was. This new movie with what's it called?
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, but it's a shortened name. It's Lightning or something like that. But anyway, the last one that they did. I think it was Buzz Lightyear 4, number 4. It did
that was Toy Story 4.
Toy Story. That's it, Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. So, but I remember that it opened and it did like $121 million at the box office, right? So they just automatically assumed that this one was going to be just as good, if not better, and they put a target of about 135 million.
First week.
And it came out on a weekend where there was no competition, and it managed to make it up to about 85 million. So in those regards,
that's worldwide. That's worldwide.
Yeah. So it's just So that's not good. That's not good. And of course that doesn't help the bottom line of everything else that they're doing too. But I've also heard that there were parents and grandparents that had taken their kids and got up and walked out on certain scenes or something that I've not seen the movie. I don't really want to go see it, but it's like people are voting with their dollars, So
there's a scene in it where you have two female characters kiss.
Oh, right? Is that what
I believe that's the scene they're talking about.
That's probably, and I could imagine, a couple of grandparents taking their kids to what they think is a wholesome Disney movie.
Completely agree, Steve Sullivan. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Tim Allen.
Yeah, and they got rid of Tim Allen.
Yeah. They had Chris Evans playing.
Right.
The character.
Which he's a full tilt left.
Yeah. Well, he says that anyone that that's against two females kissing on TV are dinosaurs and they'll die out. And
I guess I'm a dinosaur. Shit.
Well, here's my thing. I was like this. Look, stuff like that needs to be there in context. That's number one. Number two, this is a child's movie. Okay, children's movie. That kind of, I was like, I don't think PDA should be in there either way, whether it be straight or gay.
Yeah.
I was like this. Why? I was like this. Okay, the girl has the child has two mothers. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. I'm gonna ignore that part. But when you start, putting the PDA in there, that's when people get like, okay, right. And they get up and leave because they're like this.
And that's the whole thing. It's a political move.
Yeah, you push
no business getting into political crap. They should have said, no, we can't do this. This is not the right thing to do.
And the movie got banned all over the Middle East and Asia.
God, yes. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And I was like this, well, Chris Evans, I guess all these people were going to get are going to die from being a dinosaur too. So
yeah. Hey, I see Romeo out there. Hey, Romeo. All right, cool. Yeah, everything goes shit. That's right. Hey, an American Exile. Yeah. How you doing, John? Good to see you. Cool.
But when I think of wokeness, I think of this line from Donald Trump.
Everything woke turns to shit.
Couldn't say it any better. Yeah.
Well, that must be where Romeo got it.
Yeah. But it kind of also reminds me of what's going on with CW. I don't know if you've paid attention to that channel, but I watch comic book movies, TV shows, and stuff because I'm a big comic book fan, as you can tell by my posters. And stuff.
I see that.
But that shit has went woke as hell. I can't even stand watching it. And I was Batwoman. It was on for 3 seasons, and they got rid of it because it was I think it had ratings of like, I don't know, maybe 500,000 people watch it out of 350 million people in the country.
Right.
I'm like, that's awful. And then, but the thing is, the reason they thought it was doing so good is because everybody on Twitter was upping it, doing like, oh, it's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And it's because of all those bots on there. They have push the left's narrative. And the same with what's called Supergirl and some of the other shows they had on there that, when they first started putting content on there that was from DC, I believe the first one I remember was obviously Smallville, but Smallville wasn't woke at all. But that's about 10 years ago.
Right.
Then they put out, I think it's Arrow. It's about Green Arrow, and that wasn't woke until the last two or three seasons, and it just became
You kind of slipped it in, yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't stand watching it, and I was like, "What?" And Disney's doing it all over the place. Of course, I don't know if you've seen Obi-Wan Kenobi, which that is actually really good. It don't have a lot of woke stuff in it, which is great. And they're not pushing some kind. It don't feel like they're pushing a narrative to me, you know. But if you watch one of their comic book TV shows they have on there, it's called Miss Marvel, and that is woke as hell. I mean, for the character is in the comic book, she's also a Muslim, you know, which didn't bother me. You know, they're going with the character set up, but then they changed her power set. They changed everything about the character. They've changed to fit this narrative and trying to push some ridiculous nonsense. And I just can't stand it. I just can't stand watching it. And I looked at my wife. I was like, this thing's geared up to young teen girls. And I was like, this is not the people who buy this stuff isn't young teen girls.
Yeah.
You know, they're young men that watch it. They would watch it, that buy the comic books and, you know, stuff like that. But hey, they're going to gear it the way they want and to push that narrative for Democrats. So obviously they think they can make money off of it. But we all know they're not. You know?
Well, you know, and earlier you said something about the majority of us. And I do believe that's true. But the sad part is the majority of what you call us, how we feel and believe, your sense of how the general population really thinks is probably right on, except we have one fatal error. We have a tendency to kick back and think everything's okay and not get involved and not start, you know, checking this stuff out and raising your voice, you know, saying something, you know, getting involved, doing something. So there's a lot of people I talk to that have very conservative ideas here in California, but because they're out of it, they don't pay attention to any of that. They don't even know what's going on. So they're oblivious to it.
See, people like that, I call them don't give-itarians.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, it's what they don't care about. I gotta tell you where I got the line from David Wood. Okay. I heard him say that, and I was like, man, that's a good line. Don't give-itarian, because that's what he considers himself.
I like that. Yeah.
When it comes to politics, he doesn't care, you know, because he's like, both sides suck, you know. And I kind of agree with him on that for the most part. But, you know, the thing is, I agree with more things on the right, and I want to, when it comes to some of their policies and stuff, needs to go that way. I agree.
Yeah. So why are voter turnout so terrible? In all across the board, really, all across the board.
All across
the board. You look at our population. You look how many people actually vote, and you're like, oh my God, a minority group of people are basically putting people into office in this country.
Yeah, I think the last election you had altogether, I think it was 150 million people voted for president.
Yeah.
Supposedly. Okay.
Supposedly, yeah. But still, that number is dismal.
Yeah, it's not even half of the population of the United States. It's about 40%. So 40% of the United States is voting for the top office in the United States. Yeah. Well, okay. You also got to figure out it goes 18 to 18 and younger can't vote. So, or 17 and younger can't vote. That should be what? 100 million maybe?
Yeah, some number like that.
So if you do that and you take that out, it's probably closer to 60-70%.
I would say, even if you have eligible voter age, that we probably are around 60%.
Yeah,
you know, somewhere in that neighborhood. But you know, that's terrible. That really is. Everybody should. So if they really care and they say they care, but yet they don't show up at the polls, there's something wrong, man.
Well, if you look at the demographics when it comes to age of who's voting, like around your age and older, 65 and older, they're almost at 100%.
Yeah, because we kind of wake up to what the hell's going on?
You look at mine, which is 40 to 60, that range, I believe it's around 75%. And then when you get 18 to 30, you know, so or 18 to 40, well, let's go. How about 30 to 40? That's probably, that's probably closer to 50%. And then when you get down to the 18 to so on and so forth, that's where it drops off like a rock, and it goes to like almost 10% maybe.
Yeah. Well, and you know, that's why it always makes me happy to see some of these. You know, you'll see some really, really young conservative or just involved kids. You know, bringing their opinion out and so forth. And I'm like, yeah, because you don't see that a lot. I mean, I asked my girlfriend, my daughter's boyfriend, if he knew who the president of the United States was. He didn't even know. He didn't even know. At least my daughter did, but that's because she's been around me.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, really? You don't even know who the president? And he guessed 3 times, and he was wrong 3 times.
Well, what did he guess? Now
old stuff like Reagan. What did he say? He said Clinton, and I think he said Bush. So just names that he kind of must have remembered or something. I go, you got to be kidding. Then I showed him a picture. So who do you think this is? Well, I don't know. That's the president of the United States.
And you should have gotten all this on video, and we could.
I know.
No, I mean
that would have been good.
Yeah. My daughter, she's 15 years old. She doesn't know any of this stuff either. You know. Yeah. She actually, I asked her a question about the 3 branches of government. She actually knew it, and I was actually surprised, but she didn't know who's president.
Yeah, sometimes they you might get them fresh out of one of their history classes or something, and they'll remember that, but they may not know the
She didn't know who the president. She didn't know who the president was. She didn't know who the vice president was. She didn't.
Well, it keeps changing every 4 years. No.
Like okay.
Yeah.
But now the next thing I want to talk about is the Supreme Court and their decision. Oh, here you go.
What is he saying?
The factor in school stupidity. Less than 5% 12th graders can name 50 states.
Well, he's right.
He's true.
He's right.
But the next thing I want to talk about is the Supreme Court's decision on that New York case when it comes to conceal and carry.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because I saw the New York mayor came out and said, it doesn't matter. We're going to stay with what we're doing. And I was like, so you're going to ignore the Supreme Court?
Right.
And I was like, well, why not? Biden's done it, 3 times now. So,
there was even tweets out there saying, we need to get rid of the Supreme Court. Like all of a sudden, they're turning on them.
and then Biden, he had he wrote a thing out about how he was disappointed in their decision. And if you read between the lines of what he's saying, he's pretty much saying, look, states need to make decisions on what they want to do.
As long as it's what we tell them.
Yeah. And then he's pretty much saying, don't worry about the Supreme Court. And I'm like this. I'm like, I have a feeling his thought process is, you know what? We'll try to get rid of the filibuster so we can expand the court because we don't like the decisions they're making on certain issues.
Yeah.
Even though some of the decisions they make actually benefit them.
Yeah.
Another decision I thought was interesting is police don't have to read Miranda rights.
What?
I
didn't hear that.
Pretty much what their decision is if someone starts talking before their Miranda rights are said, you could still use that in a court of law. Even though their Miranda rights haven't been read yet. And I was like,
but that's because they don't know their rights.
Well,
and they start.
Well, my thing is, what if the police never read your Miranda rights?
Right. Then anything you say is.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying the court's saying, hey, it was 6-3. I don't know who voted for what because they didn't say. I'm guessing it might be a mixed bag, but Alito is the one that wrote the decision. And
it's always been a problem. People not really knowing their rights. That's the whole reason why we have
what he's saying in the decision is, hey, if you talk about something before the Miranda rights are read, it could still be used against you in a court of law, regardless if they've read it or not by that time.
So basically, they're saying you should already know your rights.
So, in my opinion, it's either you should already know this, they should have taught you this in school, and so on and so forth, or just if you look at it, does cops need to read the Miranda rights then at that point? You know, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I know I wouldn't say anything. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. The cops are cops, not teachers, I guess.
Well, I kind of understand that too, but at the same time, you can't expect everybody to know everything all the time. So that's why we have that in place. You know, it's to make sure you know before you say anything else.
You guys look like the modern version of Men in Black tonight.
Is it the shades?
Talk about our black shirts, I'm guessing.
Your black shirts, yeah. Okay.
But when I first read the whole thing, I was like this. This is questionable to me. Because I was like this. They need to read the Miranda rights. I mean, before they bring him in into the station or anything. And if they don't, anything they said, in my opinion, shouldn't be used. But the way this is written is that as long as at some point or another before they're booked, you have to read the Miranda rights. And I was like this. I guess it is what it is. You know, I guess it's going to have to depend on the interpretation of each state to decide on when it needs to be done at that point. Because let's say Texas decides, hey, as soon as you arrest someone, you got to read the Miranda rights, or nothing they say could be used in court law. That's
the way it really should be.
Yeah,
I think it really should be that way. They understand their rights, because otherwise they just may not. Now, granted, there are a lot of criminals out there that we just keep releasing. They could probably quote the Miranda rights back to you. Yeah. So obviously they know, but that's all part of this going soft on crime, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. But what do you think about the gun rights decision? What they have decided on that?
Well, I mean, I was out there going, yeah. I'm not a gun owner, but it does not mean that I'm against guns. I would probably own a gun, but I just never have. I've never gotten into hunting or anything like that. But several times I've thought about it for my own personal protection. Especially being out where I'm at. But it never came to that, and I never did. But I 100% believe that this is a guarantee, to us. The Second Amendment is fundamental to everything the United States stands for. And the way the government was originally set up, and being a republic ran by the people and not the government running the people.
It's what's used to actually back up the rest of your rights.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. I own guns. Now, I don't own a gun that you can actually conceal. I don't own a handgun. Okay. But if I did, in West Virginia, you can carry. You can legally carry. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I think in New York, how they had it was if you had to show that you need it for personal protection in your house. That's what you had to show.
They wanted you to show cause.
Yes, show cause why you need it.
Show cause. You could, and so showing cause, it's not acceptable. Well, I feel I need it. Now,
what I found interesting there is you can do. You have to show cause, but the people that are protecting these rich people, like security guards, they don't need to show cause.
No.
That person being famous is the cause, so they can carry the gun.
Criminals don't have to show cause.
Yeah, exactly. They just do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other point, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the gun laws, is you can take all the guns away from everybody, but the criminals, when they need a gun and they're going to go out and shoot holes and stuff, people, they're going to get a gun. I guarantee, even if they have to make it in their own shop or buy it on the black market or whatever. So I think they're going after the wrong thing, but that's what the perception is. They're trying to stop gun violence, but actually, I think they're trying to take guns away from the populace, so the populace can't fight back, which we're guaranteed that we can do. So
I agree with you, but I think the other thing is let's say they did take away guns. What you do is create a black market for the cartels, because you already got one for
a whole nother business.
A whole nother business. I mean, you got one for bringing people up here that are trying to immigrate. Also drugs with fentanyl and stuff like that. And now you're gonna make guns illegal. Oh, we got another business proposition here for guns, and it's gonna make them richer, because people are going to want, especially criminals, are going to find an easy way to access the guns. Not only that, the government would have to figure out how they're going to collect over how many guns are in the United States? Probably 1 billion.
Oh yeah. Matt, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. If they actually just right down to say we're taking all the guns away, you definitely would have a revolution on your hands.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. It's something that I don't think it's ever going to happen either. I see them doing restrictions, though, like go after clips. I don't know if you saw the chat session today. The main thing that we were talking about, they were talking about, I only had to drop in because Michael dropped out because his internet went out. But we were talking about the IRS has spent over almost $1 million. It's pretty close to $1 million for ammo, and that's just our IRS. They ain't.
Why does IRS need ammo?
I don't know, but it's not just them. It's other agencies in the
Do they have to show cause?
I don't know, but there's other agencies in the in the government that's doing the same thing, and you're like, what's going on? And not only that, we have a shortage of ammo. So it's because government's buying it all up. And the reason, and not only that, I saw this one article. I can't remember.
Maybe I should get into that industry.
Anyway, I can't remember what it was, but the government is going after this ammo company that they actually have a contract with the United States government to make ammo for their version of a AR-15, so it's automatic.
Right.
And saying, hey, all that ammo comes to us. It don't go to the public anymore. See, this ammo company made most of their money off of selling at least 30 or 40% of their stock to the public. That's how they made a lot of their money, and that's how it keeps them in business. Not only that, they keep their production up. Well, the United States telling Remington that, or this company, I can't remember the name of the company. They said, well, if we do that, we're going to have to lower our capacity of how much ammo we're going to make. We're going to have to get rid of people. And then if we get into a war, what happens? They're going to have to find new people. It's going to take them at least a year to get back up to where they were. And you're going to be in the middle of a war. Is that a good idea? And the Biden administration doesn't care. They're saying,
not only that, but if I was owner of the company, I'd say, well, look, if we're going to do this, then they're definitely going to have to pay a premium. The government also hits these companies and tries to work out deals price-wise, even though I know the government pays more for everything, from toilet seats to hammers, more than they should.
$500 for a hammer. What the?
Yeah.
It's because that other $495 is going into someone else's bank account. That's what's going on.
Right. Jeez. So anyway,
but it's something that it confuses the hell out of me. I just like, what are they thinking? And what the only thing I could think of what they're thinking is like the oil field. They're trying, in my opinion, what they're trying to do is push the oil field to go into being controlled by the government. Because, and
just like China runs all their companies.
Yeah. Do you think they'd be going after them if they're unions? If the oil field was in a union? Because most of the oil field's not in a union. They work.
I thought about that. I know the refineries and stuff are.
Well, the refineries
out
are.
Here.
The refineries are, and some of the pipelines are. But when you do drilling rigs,
that's kind of
when you're building the pads, majority of that stuff is not union. They're blue collar workers. They unions blue collar too, but they don't work in unions. And I'm sure if they did, I don't think they'd be going after it like they are.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Well, especially the Biden administration.
Yes.
So they're absolutely 100% pro union, even though you know that. Well, I have my opinion on that. You already know.
Well, this is what the Biden administration is.
Yeah.
Everything woke turns to shit.
There you go.
That's right.
Yep. I'm going to play that one more time. But I love it. I love
when have to end the show with that.
Yeah. But I think when it comes to the Biden administration, what they're doing with ammo, also the gun, when it comes to guns and the bullets and all that, it's them going towards more of a Marxist or a fascist way of doing the government.
Yeah, fascist.
I think that's what they want. They want to have control over the economy 100%. And that's the only way that they think they can control when it comes to green energy and stuff like that. That's why I think they're doing. Because the other question you have to ask is, they're pushing this green energy. How many of these congressmen, senators, the president, how much money do they have caught up in the stock market in these companies? And I guarantee you it's in the millions. It's in the millions.
You know, and you're talking green. You know how they're pushing all electric cars. You know what would happen if we all went to electric? Let's just say tomorrow. What's that?
Do I have the Trump bike riding?
Yeah. If we went all electric right now, the grid would probably collapse with all those chargers plugged in. Yeah. Not only that, but if you look at some of I watched a TED Talk the other day, and they were talking about the materials that go into the batteries that make these cars and the amount of time that it takes carbon base wise to zero out. Most electric cars, you have to drive them for at least 12 years before their carbon footprint zeroes out, just because the carbon consumption or however you call that in the beginning, and mostly because of the battery. But a lot of things in the car and so forth, just like a regular car. But they said about maybe 2 tons in a regular car, but 12 tons for an electric car. So, like, where's the green savings? Yeah. I mean, you know. So and then they're going to charge tax for mileage. So, probably. You know, they won't be getting gas tax anymore.
I got the bike ride video. Here you go.
Because as you know, he fell off his bicycle.
Can't see it. It's shining. It's too shiny.
Yeah.
Fell off a bicycle.
There are multiple interpretations here depending on what you want to take.
I make this pledge to you today. I will never, ever ride a bicycle.
There you go. But what were we talking about?
We were talking about carbon footprints and the Green New Deal or something.
What killed me is what New Zealand's done. Have you seen that?
No, tell me.
Story.
Tell me.
All right, it killed me. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Are you serious?" I put it on a video. I call it "Can't Make This Shit Up," and the reason is because they have decided, right? They charge people for carbon footprint when it comes to their cars, their houses, so on and so forth. They're charging farmers for carbon footprint when it comes to farm animals, cows and sheep. Okay,
see, that's another form of wokeness too.
Yes. It kind of led right into that. But I was like this, when I'm reading it, I'm like this, they're charging for farts and burps from a cow and sheep.
That's right. Right.
Because if you look at New Zealand, there's only 5 million people who live in New Zealand, but there's 10 million cows and 26 million sheep. And so they're like this. We need to do something about all this methane that's going into the atmosphere. So we need to charge you guys extra because you're having those farm animals. And my reaction is like, all you're going to do is make people buy less farm animals and have less farm animals. And guess what's going to happen? Your food is going to go down. Your the amount of food
And the
you
price is going to go up.
and the price of it will rise up. It's just stupid. It doesn't even make sense. They don't understand economics. Dumber than hell.
Well, yeah, they don't want to.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, I was going to say, you talk about the money to pay off this offset. Well, how do they use that money to pay off the offset or fix it? Where's that money go? Other than it's just a penalty that you have to pay.
Yeah, it's just in my opinion, it's also a new way to get money from people. It's just a new tax. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's another way for them to actually get money from people and not call it a tax in that kind of form. It's only getting penalized to people that are farmers or own cars. And that's the reason they're doing it, because they want you to stop either being a farmer or stop having cars. They want you to move into these big cities and use public transportation, which all the public transportation,
bicycles.
yeah, or bicycles. All the public transportation in these cities are going electric. And I don't know if you saw that one video of that bus blowing up.
Oh, they caught on fire. Oh God, yes. Well, see, that's a battery issue.
Yeah. I was like, that looks safe.
Throwing out, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the next thing is you have to pay your carbon tax on you breathing, and so if you can only afford to live to 55,
yeah.
Oh dear,
that's gonna have to go on a whole new show. Yeah, that's gonna have to go on a whole new show because that's
right.
But guys, appreciate you coming to watch us. I got a video right behind this one. We're gonna be showing you a video that Dave made. It's for the Trump rally, advertising on it. So check it out. And I also want to show you this one more time.
Everything woke turns to shit.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Okay, guys, remember